Welcome to City Built Sessions. My name is Irvans Augustin. City Built is a podcast and a show and a storytelling platform focused on the people, culture, and business and ideas shaping our cities and communities. Sometimes reinvention looks sudden from the outside, a resignation, a new business, a new creative path. But the real decision is usually made quietly behind the scenes long before anyone else can see it. Karina Alegre, did I say your last name right?
Correct, yes, Alegre.
Karina Alegre built a meaningful career in education. She has also learned how to navigate the professional environment in Miami as a young professional. And now she's pursuing acting and content creation full-time, building Alegre Leadership, and developing an interview show designed to look beyond the accomplishments, get beyond the fluff, and explore people's character stories and personalities. So I'm excited for you to be joining me as a podcast host.
Thank you. I'm really excited myself.
And today we're talking about confidence, reinvention, leadership, influence, and the courage required to admit that the path you're on may not be the one that you're suited for or suits you, and evolve into this new person that you choose to become. Karina Noelle, welcome to City Built.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really excited to be here.
So, as I mentioned, you built that career that was stable, respectable career in education. What grade did you teach?
I taught high school English. I did 9th and 10th grade, and then I also started the leadership class at that high school, which was essentially focused on building the students' leadership skills, public speaking, communication, team building. And that leadership class was essentially like a segue into the student government program for the school. So we would travel all across Florida representing the school. The students had never had that because it's kind of like a newer school.
Yeah.
And fun fact about me, I was in student government since elementary, middle, and high school.
You were that kid?
I was that kid. So I actually even did it in college as well. So it was really cool to kind of like give back and do the same thing that I used to do, but kind of leading them, right? So it was really interesting because we would even go on trips and my advisors would be there. And they were like, okay, now I'm old because seeing you here with your kids, and you were my kid. And I'm like, yeah, this is really crazy. But it was really cool teaching high school students for sure.
And then so like now on your own time, when we talked before, you're doing the influencer thing. Absolutely. And editing videos between sessions and doing things. And when was that tipping point when you kind of realized that there were this other part of you and the other work that you were doing on your own and that you were really just for yourself? When did you start realizing that needed more room in your life?
Yeah, so I always said that I wanted to have an era for teaching. I'm a woman of many hats, right? I consider myself to be extremely multifaceted. And I always said that I really wanted to open up schools one day. And I'm like, eventually I'll do that, but I can't open up a school if I don't know what it's like to be in the classroom, right? You cannot do something on a large scale if you don't know the type of people that you would be hiring and the type of school culture that you would want to, create. And so when I went into teaching, I knew that I wasn't going to do it forever, right? I did it sort of as a way to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. At the time, I thought that I wanted to go to law school, and my amazing former boss gave me the opportunity. He was like, look, take as much time as you need. Teaching is such a fulfilling career that I know that it'll bring you the inspiration to kind of move forward. And so I think what kind of brought me to a breaking point where I was like, I have to make a choice, was just kind of like my mental exhaustion. I literally had no time for myself. I would wake up every single day about 5:45. I teach an entire set of classes. It's not just like one class, right? I have multiple periods in a day. And then I was also involved with the students after school. I did tutoring, and I also did student government for the kids. And then I was also the class of 2029 sponsor.
And in the meantime, in between time, you record videos and...
Right. So I was editing and posting. And so what I would do is I would edit as much as I could at home, and then I'd schedule my posts throughout the day. And then obviously teachers are not supposed to have a social media. So obviously everything that I would post was very appropriate. If I ever posted with a student, it's because I knew their parent, and their parent was like, it's fine, you're posting at an SGA conference, that's okay. Right. But I think that it kind of started inhibiting me from posting a lot of other things that I maybe would have wanted to post. But it's a teacher's not going to be taken seriously if she's posting that sort of thing, like makeup and things like that. Like I was kind of being a little bit more seen as like a girly girl rather than an academic professional. And so that's where I was kind of like, I have to make a choice.
And did you make that choice on your own, or is there like
Yeah. So I was at the school, right? The school was slowly but surely growing, and opportunities were sort of presented to me.
Yeah.
And I was seeing myself move up, right? And
within the school.
Within the school, right? And so like with me growing that responsibility meant that I had to put my entire being into that role, right? Where I knew that that's not where I wanted to be.
No more wearing multiple hats, so you gotta pick one.
Exactly. Like, and it's really funny because my entire life I was always obsessed with Hannah Montana, right? So I really felt like Hannah Montana at this time. Like I would literally pack an outfit in my car, and after school I'd change into the outfit in my car and go to like a brand event that I was invited to, right? So I'm signed to an agency, so I'd go to all of these events, and then I'd get home and I'd be exhausted, and like I had no time to like cook or clean. So it was really like a mental thing. My boyfriend and my mom, I would say, were like the most pivotal people because they both were like, you need to be honest with yourself, and like you love doing this and you're not even doing it full time. So imagine if you did do the whole influencing thing full time. The reason why I never pursued acting was because I just couldn't, quite frankly, afford it, right? And so I was like, wait, but what if I like do it full time, and then I could like be my own boss, and then I could have the time to do what I want to do.
Did you ever worry about the decision between stability and the unknown in terms of,
right?
Because like the industry for acting is really small here. It used to be much more.
100%.
But yeah, did you ever think about that, or?
To be quite honest with you, it was never about like the teaching versus the acting. Yeah. It was more about like the law school versus the acting, because I remember my end game was to go to law school.
Yeah. So
that was the stability, right? And so I'm a daughter of immigrant parents. My mom's dream was always to go to law school. She was never able to. You know, she was too busy working, right? Working, doing everything that she could to have that financial stability and do what she could for her kids. And so then I, of course, come in and I'm like, I'm going to go to law school for you, Mom. And my mom was like, but you can't do things for other people. You have to do it for yourself, because at the end of the day, when you lay your head on your pillow, you have to be happy with the career that you chose.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest, I don't know if you've picked up on this by now, but I'm the personality hire. Like, I don't get hired because I'm the smartest person in the room. I get hired because I know how to see people for who they are. And that's kind of like a quality that you can't like train that, right? Like I was born with that. And so I was like, am I in the right field? Like, do I really want to go and like just eat books all day? It's not me, right?
Yeah.
And so then that was kind of when I was like, you know, the stability is going to be where I make it stable. And I know that like my talent is there, and like I've always believed in myself, and I've never been insecure about how much I love this thing. And so it in my brain, it's always like gonna work out for me.
Yeah. How do you distinguish between like responsibility and distinguishing the responsibility from the fear of stepping out to?
Yeah, I think that's why when I made the choice, I ensured that I had, you know, a head on my shoulders, right? Like I graduated from my dream school, go Canes. I have my own business, right? I have clients of my own. So it's like I do have a stable income.
Yeah. God
forbid this doesn't work out. Which is not even like a thing in my brain, but just in case, right? Because you have to be responsible 100%, like how you said.
Yeah.
I know that I have something going for me, right? Again, I'm a very multifaceted individual. I've worked in a lot of different industries, which I think has made me a better actor. I was actually talking about this with one of my mentors recently. I'm going to understand more roles because I have more real life experience. So for example, let's say that I have a co-star that's a teenager. I might connect with them better because I was a high school teacher. So it's like I wouldn't have been able to connect with that co-star as much as I potentially could if I didn't have that career beforehand. Yeah. So that's kind of like...
Yeah, that's a great segue to our next question, like, because before teaching, you did have a professional career and did work in an office.
Yeah.
As a young professional stepping into professional office, working and engaging, like in teaching in high school, you're working with kids that are younger than you, so it's easy to establish yourself in that space. But then in professional office, as a young person coming in and working and hiring or firing people older or twice your age,
Right.
What did that teach you?
Yeah, so I worked in human resources. Okay. Human resources is very emotionally taxing. I'm a very emotional person, right? I'm an empath. I always try to like resonate with people's situations. And so that was a difficult job for me to have at 22, right? I was 22 years old. And I had to like literally look at people in the eye and fire them, knowing that they had families to feed. However, I had to follow the rules. So I think that like, that was an interesting time in my life because I built tougher skin and I never had tough skin. I've always been the nicest person in the room. And then on top of that, people have always underestimated me because I'm a woman, right? And at the time I didn't look like a woman, right? I was a girl, right? And they're like, what is this little girl coming in here thinking that she could fire me, right? I mean, that was the job that I was given. I was offered that job. I had been working there from before, and I slowly but surely got promoted to working in that department. But it was really cool for my confidence because I never put my foot down when it came to people. I was very like happy-go-lucky, all this stuff. So then bringing in that skill set into the classroom, nobody ever messed with me. The first thing that people would tell me when I would tell them, oh, you're a high school teacher. Oh, those kids are probably like, oh my gosh, my teacher, right? And I'm like, no, my students respected me so much. I just knew how to do that.
Well, you have a whole set of level of experience coming in that on average, and the average person many times doesn't have.
Right.
So yeah, that level of experience and understanding does have value. How you see the world, how you engage with people at whatever age.
Right. Yeah. And I thought it was interesting because there were a lot of teachers in the school that were much older than me, and the kids were kind of like that with them, like happy-go-lucky, like I don't care, not going to do the homework. But with me, they were like scared of me. And I think it's because I kind of spoke to them in a way that was more relatable. Like, you know, instead of being like, oh, you have detention, you know, I'll give you a quick story time here. I had a student, he was the captain of the soccer team, and he had his game day jersey on. He was all excited for the game that day. And I didn't give homework much, but I would give assignments that they were allowed to work on in class time, right? Fair, I think that's fair. And I just see this kid copying his neighbor, copying word for word his neighbor. And I look at him, and instead of, you know, any other teacher would have been like, detention, I'm calling your parents, all this stuff. I look at him, I open up my phone, I put the phone on speaker, and I called his soccer coach. And I said, hey, coach, what's up? I just want to let you know that your captain, he's benched for today's game. I don't have enough time to explain why he's benched, but he can explain that to you. And I hung up the phone and I continued with my class time. That was the last time that any student in any period ever did some shenanigans like that. And it's because I hit him where it hurts. His parents are working hard in corporate America to put food on his plate. I'm not going to call them to interrupt them. They're already wearing a million hats. As a teacher, it's my role to kind of find that like pinpoint where they're never going to do it again.
And that's where you, like you were saying, just understanding what matters to him as a person.
Right. Without complete humiliation. Like I didn't like, oh, you're a bad kid. You go to the corner. No, I said, you're grown enough to explain to your coach why you're going to be benched because you're the captain of the team. Is that what a leader would do? No. And I just moved on to my lesson. I don't even hold the grudge against him. Hey, good morning, sweetie. How are you? The next day, he's like, I thought you hated me. I'm like, I don't hate you. I just need to reprimand you. And I taught you a lesson. It's just business. Literally just business. So that was a fun time.
What are some of the things from all these different hats that you have worn that, including the acting, that now when you're stepping out on your own and starting your own business, because you're taking the Alegre Leadership out of the high school, like you've expanded and you've...
So Alegre Leadership, I actually just opened it now. I had a previous business and then I kind of closed that up and did my own thing. And it was more focused on education before, for sure. And now I kind of opened it up. So I offer a new service. It's content consulting. So right now we live in a world where social media is so powerful, right? But social media is expensive as a business owner, right? And there's a lot of small,
It can be, yeah.
right? There's a lot of small businesses that want to kind of dip their feet into marketing and social media, but if they hire a social media manager, that's a whole salary, right? Social media managers, they go to school, they expect a salary, as they should, right? Because it's a very difficult job. So me, in Alegre Leadership, I offer content consulting, where essentially you hire me on retainer, and I shoot one content day a month. I batch record everything for the month, and then I provide the client with a content calendar and captions, and then the client kind of posts all that content on their own, or they pay me a higher fee, which majority of my clients do this. They pay me a higher fee, and I have their social media handles, and I just post it throughout the month. So
from all these, what are some of the things that, from all the different hats you've worn and your small businesses that you're running, what do you take into your content production? Like all this experience, how does that translate into the content production and what you're creating?
I love that question, because a lot of people have a very diluted perspective on content creators and influencers and people that are really being vulnerable enough to put up a camera and talk about things. I think that one of the biggest skills is that I've always remained very socially aware, right? So I think before I say things online, because I know that they're always going to be there. And that stems from all of the different jobs that I've had.
Nothing dies online.
Right, exactly. And that stems from all of the different jobs that I've had, right? Like there were certain things in the classroom that were off limits for me to say. And I had my kids that would ask me and ask me and ask me, just like I have people now in my comments that ask me things. I don't answer that, right? Because my content is not focused on that, right? Yeah. So I think that the social awareness for sure. And then also just like being able to articulate myself on camera. I got that skill from the amount of public speaking that I was doing in all of my roles. And then I think just like my editing turnover time, like I had so many deadlines that I was expected to meet when I was working in the professional realm, that now I hold myself to that same standard, and I'm like, I need to post consistently. If I want to do what I want to do, I have to post consistently, and I make up these deadlines for myself, because sometimes like it's kind of hard to build that like, you know, discipline, but that's kind of what I've learned.
Yeah. You already mentioned one word, the vulnerability of people presenting themselves. What is something else that you feel that people misunderstand about being an influencer?
Yeah. So a lot of people, again, there are rotten apples in every industry.
Yes.
Okay. There are amazing doctors, and then there's extremely unethical doctors, right? And the list goes on. That's with every industry.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's really easy to rip someone apart for what they post online, and it's really easy to put people in a box, because influencing is a career that, like, let's face it, like there's no influencer degree, right? So people are quick to be like, this person is so diluted, all they care about is buying stuff. This is a case-by-case scenario. I refuse to be put in that box, because I do leave an impact and I do influence people, and I don't influence people in a negative way, right? I do the things that I do because I like to share my stories. Why do I share my stories? Because I know that it's going to resonate with somebody, right? And that, for me, as somebody that consumes content, those are the people that I like to see, right? I like to see someone like, oh, okay, you know, they had an absent father that wasn't there for them. You know, I'm going to follow this person because they inspire me. Like, look at how great they're doing. You know, their lives are so amazing, but they had a similar kind of circumstance to what I had. So I think that like being put into this box that people put influencers in is like, you're not being fair. And I think that a lot of the times people are really just projecting. Like, one of the biggest things that I get is like, oh my gosh, like I could never, like, it's so cool that you do that, but like I could never, like that's so embarrassing. And I'm like, you could never because you say that you could never. Right? You are the one that is stopping yourself from reaching your highest potential, because who says that you have to be an influencer that's playing with makeup?
Yeah.
If you're I have so many friends that are in their own industries. Okay, an attorney that I know, majority of her clients, her inbound comes in because she does videos on TikTok about law. Right. You understand? So it's like you're putting all these people into this box, and it's like you're actually just very narrow-minded, and you need to get with the times. And that's what I feel about that.
And they're not saying it for what it is. They focus on the very, like you said, the percentage of them that is the shallow, because there is the people. It is what it is.
In
there
every
are people
industry,
in
right?
every single industry,
Right. It's just easy to
Even
get
if-
mad.
Yeah, like a lawyer, you could be a lawyer, but you could just be that loud lawyer who chases ambulances and makes a little bad commercials in a bad suit. Right?
100%. And so I think that that's kind of like where I get
Yeah.
passionate
That's
about
where your
that.
passion comes
But I live to prove people wrong. I love doing that. Like, there's been people, that have come up to me and been like, like when I first saw you, I thought I was gonna hate you, and then you actually turned out to be.
I think sometimes people want to, because then
Right.
it makes you feel better, because like oh,
Right, and they're like, oh, like, and then they're like, you're actually kind of cool, and I'm like, thank you. Like, your opinion on me was gonna. It doesn't matter to me, but I appreciate the feedback.
And what is something that you feel small businesses and others don't understand about, like you said, social media, where it's come from and where it is now, but then also where it's going?
I think that people are very stuck in the past when it comes to social media. They have very, bad connotations that come with social media. They believe that social media is unserious, or, this, that, or the next. And, I look at social media, content creators, influencers, the things that you are seeing online, that is the new billboard. Okay, the money that you were going to spend on the billboard, you should be spending on people that are going to connect with their audiences. Okay, so I think that, like, my sort of thing to business owners is like, again, get with the times, because your business is going to fall short because the person that's doing the same exact thing as you is going to be ahead if you don't get with the times.
Yeah.
And that's
And they're
just
reaching, the potential of reaching 10 times more or 100 times, 1,000 more percentage of people than you can.
right. And listen, and the truth is that the people that are judging, they're about to retire anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like the ones that have the big bucks is my generation. So we have to, like, start really understanding that and reframing our brains, because do you want to stay in business or do you not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for a quick reset, if you're just joining us, this is City Built Sessions. My name is Irvans Augustin, and I'm here talking with Karina Alegre, actress, leadership development entrepreneur, former educator and full-time content creator, and soon to be, I was going to say podcast, but I think you're going to have a show, personally.
Yeah. Yeah. It's giving a talk show.
It's going to be a talk show. And so, yeah, and we're just talking about reinvention, confidence, and the thread of connecting teaching, acting, leadership, and influence. And that was one thing I was going to say earlier. As a parent of an artist, shout out to your mom for giving you that space to kind of be you, because a lot of times, especially coming from an immigrant community,
Right.
they tell you art isn't a real job.
Right.
Talking on social media is not real. To go
100%. Yeah.
go work go become a doctor or a lawyer.
100%.
And so shout out to your mom for that.
Yes.
And the question I was going to ask you is teaching, acting, leadership development, content creation, soon to be talk show host. What are some of the common skills that tie all these things together? Because they're all different careers,
They're all different,
technically, but there's still some foundational elements that, aside from talking,
Right.
there's some foundational elements that are underneath and tie all those things together. What do you feel that those are?
So first thing is confidence, right? The way that you view yourself is fundamental, because when you step into all of those different rooms, there's so many different personalities. And if you are not rooted in who you are, you're going to ultimately crumble, because it is extremely overwhelming. I am the type of person that has a million tabs open at the same time. I think that's a skill, right? Because it's kind
Can you
of
tell my daughters that, please? 'Cause I have a million tabs all the time. They always yell at me about it.
literally it's actually positive, and I will absolutely let them know that
Thank
it's a
you.
positive thing, because you're able to kind of be like an octopus, right? You're like doing everything at the same time, and I think that that's helped me a lot. But I think the biggest thing, which is probably something that you probably wouldn't expect, is my faith, right? How close I am to God. Sometimes I come across people that are not nice, right? And that might as a professional make you shy away from working with that person. But because I know that Jesus would accept that person, I sort of try to reframe my lens, and I'm like, wait, let me give this person a chance. There might be nobody else out there that gave them the chance, and maybe I'm the person that's going to do that. And I think I have a really good way of like getting to people and like making them know that they matter. It's not even like feel like they matter. It's a fact. Like, you do matter. As long as there's nobody there that did that for them. And so, you know, what's it me trying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's a skill that has helped me a lot, because I don't give up on people. Therefore, I have more of a network, right? Because I'm like, they're like, oh, that girl, she's kind of like doing the work, and that goes for any industry. So.
Yeah, I commend you for that, and I think that, like, for me, old Haitian black man growing up in America, I have spoken to a lot of people who many people think I shouldn't speak to, for one reason or another, politics, whatever ism. But I think that sometimes you have to give people that space.
Yeah.
And also meet them where they are, because you could be the only person that looks the way you do that this person has ever engaged with. And then so, I hear what you're saying. And I think it's also, it's not fair, it's not right, but my dad used to tell me, like, no one ever said life was going to be fair. It is what it is.
Amen.
And so if you are that one person that kind of ends up representing your group or your demographic, it is what it is. And so how do you show up in that moment, in that space? Yeah. And I'm curious for you also, like, in all these different positions, and also now, there is a lot of vulnerability, and you just showing up and being yourself, your authentic self through all of it. But which one of the different hats or things do you feel vulnerable, or the other extreme of vulnerability, I think, is exposed in? Right. Do you ever feel that way? Or?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I love sharing everything about myself, but I think that sometimes there is value in privacy, for sure. I think one of the things that I value the most in terms of privacy is like in my relationship, you know, romantic relationship. I post online about it, but it's not like every single detail. Like, I would never go online and be like, I fought with my boyfriend today, or, you know, that stuff to me is very sacred, and I'm very old fashioned when it comes to that stuff. I think I give generalized advice when it comes to that, because again, there's nothing that's off the table for me when it comes to that, because I just like sharing my life. That, and then another thing is, like, if I have a sort of situation with somebody in my life, I will never go online and like put that situation on blast. I might talk about it in a general way, which I have in the past, but it's very generalized. Like, you have to really know the situation to understand what I'm talking about. And even then I keep it very generalized, but I would never go and like name drop and be like, hey, like this and this happened. Cause I just think that, like, out of respect to those people, even though those people have no respect for me, just because somebody is acting a certain way doesn't give me the open avenue to act like them, because then that would be me not being true to myself. And so that's kind of like what's off limits for me.
I definitely feel like boundaries matter.
Right.
And I think that part of why we are where we are in the broader scheme of things is, like, there's a lot of boundaries that people just don't create, and and everything becomes a slippery slope. 100%. And it's so, like you already mentioned earlier, like a billboard can attract attention. Right. And you just mentioning it now about relationships and everything, because a billboard attracts attention, but it doesn't cultivate or create full connection. Is social media really the new billboard, or is it becoming something bigger or different?
That's a good question. I think it is, in a sense, the new billboard, because billboards, if you really want to get analytical about it, the English teacher in me is coming out. Billboards kind of created for me as a child a sense of like, I need to look like that. I need to do this. But now it's like, I have somebody on camera. This is not everybody. Again, there are rotten apples. Keep that in mind. But I have somebody on camera telling me about what is on the billboard, and I'm kind of seeing them as more human versus seeing them as something that I want to become that's unattainable, right? Because all these edits are being made, all this stuff is being made. When someone's talking to the camera, there's no edits there, right? Like that's who they are. So it makes me as the consumer feel more like related to that, and not as like, oh my gosh, I need to go to the gym or I need to do this, like unhealthy expectations for the audience. So yes, I do think it's a new billboard, but I think it's in a positive way if you choose the right people to market your brand. That's key.
And yes, I hear that, and I totally agree with you. So like in this day and age, like one person can be the talent to production, the marketing department, and you do it all, and you yourself will do it. Is that additional pressure you feel on yourself in having to do all these things? And because what I'm thinking about right now is just like, as a small business owner, you have the pressure of running your business and making ends meet, but then now learning to show up on camera, how to edit video, and do a dance on TikTok. For some people, that feels like pressure. I think like for digital natives like yourself and many others, but people like myself who were born in the 1900s, you don't always think of that as just fun. It's just like, oh my God.
It is, yeah.
Like, how do you, one, do you feel that pressure personally from yourself? I'm curious about. And two, like for small business owners and other folks that you work with, what do you tell them?
Yeah, so that's a loaded thing. And I think, yes, I feel pressure, but I feel like it's a healthy pressure. I think that I have expectations, like I said earlier, like I set deadlines for myself that I know I have to consistently post. However, I'll give you an example. I was in Barcelona a week and a half ago for a wedding. I'm at the wedding and I'm thinking in my head, what am I going to do? What content am I going to create that's going to be relatable for me to post, right? Because yes, I'm here with my friends. I'm so happy for them. They're getting married. Love that for them. But I'm working. Yeah. This is work. Like everything is work. I'm here to capture the moment. So yeah, sometimes it is pressure. Like, you know, especially if I'm at like a brand event or something like that, that I know that everyone's doing the same thing. So I have to be extra creative because it's like, everyone's gonna be posting the same thing. Like, I'm no better, right? Yeah. I have to make sure that I get something that's relatable enough to kind of get that engagement. So yes, there is pressure, but when you love what you do, the pressure is fun. So I think that, you know, even when I was a teacher, I would film a get ready with me in my classroom once my students were gone, like get ready with me to go to a brand event right after teaching high school students all day long. And I'm there doing my makeup in the classroom. And it's like, that for me is something that I love filming. So it's not like so much pressure at that point. It's more like, I would have done it anyway, even if I wasn't getting paid, you know?
Do you feel like we're entering into an era where talent is not enough? Because right now you can edit, put a filter on, and use AI, whatever, and you don't really have to do anything. Do you think that people still have to have some talent for certain things?
I think yes, for sure, because I think that definitely hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, but the talent and the hard work together, you're gonna win every time. And so there's only so much editing that you could do that's gonna enhance your personality. There's nothing in the world that can do that. I'll give you an example. I follow many content creators. They're super nice and they give me amazing like makeup recommendations, but they're boring. They are. You know what I mean? So it's like, and like, again, like respect to them for, you know, being so good at editing and doing the things that they do. But it's like, you can't, you know, it's innate. So. Yeah.
Living here in Miami, there's a lot of places where the city reinvents itself, and there's also a lot of, there's like 2 or 3 degrees of separation from literally everybody. Miami is the biggest small town ever. Yeah. And like sometimes there's a difference between visibility and opportunity. Right. How do you distinguish between the two? It's like sometimes you can show up, but that doesn't mean it's valuable or worth the effort.
Right.
How do you distinguish between that?
So I was blessed with extremely strong discernment and intuition. I meet someone and off the bat, I know the vibes, right? And that's helped me a lot in business because I know when someone is phony and they're just feeding me what they want to feed me, right? Or they have bad intentions, right? Or somebody who actually, you know, is being genuine. This has helped me a lot. Miami is a very difficult place. Luckily for me, I was born and raised here, so I know how to clock that quick. But
Sharks are born swimming?
right, literally.
Is that what you're saying?
Like in a metaphor sense, yeah. Because, you know, when you're not from here, maybe you're like a small town, you know, farm life person. You're gonna come here.
I've seen a lot of people come from New York and other places, and they think it's gonna be like that, and it's like it's different. It's its own place, and then you just kind of have to accept that and not. No, and like in that industry of like being in the limelight and being this, there's a lot of like spooky stuff going on. Okay, like I used to work in hospitality. Like I've seen it all. Okay, and you just have to really know how to take the rotten apples out and not allow them to stick around because you are who you surround yourself with, and if you are around those rotten apples, baby, you're gonna rot. Okay, that's what I believe in life. So it's important to kind of distinguish that. And also, like for me, like I tell my daughters, like people will always tell you who they are. It's just up to you to recognize and to listen. And I think if you just slow down for half a second, people will show up. And then you make a decision. But a lot of times we don't. We just react, and then that's where you end up with a bad apple.
And I love that you said that people show themselves who they are. I had when I worked at the restaurant that I told you about. I worked at Komodo Miami. Shout out Komodo. Shout out Grew Hospitality. I had one of the chefs tell me the most amazing advice of my life. Okay, this Cuban chef. He told me in Spanish. He said, "In life, you're gonna meet the same exact person over and over again with a different face. And that's because you have to make sure that you learn that lesson, and God is going to keep on presenting that to you until you get the lesson done." And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the best quote I've ever heard in my life. Yes, it's true. And then you're going to keep on getting tested with that same exact face, soul of that person with a different face. And it's just, I was like, wow. You're so right. I have to put my big girl, shoes on and kind of get through this.
So looking forward, you got a show that you're going to be hosting and putting on.
Yes, I'm very excited.
How do you see your show? Like, what type of show are you looking to put together?
Yeah, so the talk show that I'm going to be having, it's going to be called the Alegre Show. My name means happy in Spanish, so I want it to be very lighthearted. However, I kind of want it to be like an extension of my content, right? If you watch my content, I'm very authentic, I'm very honest, I'm very vulnerable, and I want to have the people that make up Miami and kind of ask them the questions that nobody else has been asking them. So I think that that's going to be a cool thing for me to tap into, because I have these conversations with these people, but now I'm going to have them, on here, and people are going to be
now.
Exactly. So it's going to be really cool for people to see that side of some of those people, because again, people are very quick to judge. But I want to give them that platform and that opportunity for other people to get to know them in a different light, because they're always being asked the same questions. And I think that like my youth and my skill set and my view in life is going to be really, really refreshing.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And we already talked about doing some crossovers. I'd be more than happy to have you on sometime doing, we could co-host.
Absolutely. I would love that.
And bring you on. But yeah, I'm excited for you.
Thank you so much.
In closing, one of the things I like to do, I call it the quick three. So I have 3 quick questions.
Okay.
And you answer the first things that come to mind, usually in 3 words or less. And the point is, don't overthink. Just the first thing.
Rapid fire.
I don't think you have that problem.
Yeah.
Where did my questions go? I had well, one of the first ones I had was if there was somebody in Miami that you could pick to interview, who would be willing? Who?
Anyone.
Yeah.
Like it's not out of reach.
Yeah.
Victoria Beckham.
Victoria Beckham.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Preparation or improvisation?
Improv.
And the third question I had is a person, like, it feels like you've seen Miami from a few different aspects and different places. What's one place you haven't been yet that you want to go?
In Miami?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that is. You're talking to somebody that's been everywhere. I'd probably say, maybe like a really, really, really good, like a restaurant of like a culture that I haven't tapped into. But you're talking to a foodie here, so I don't.
There's a lot of new ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of new ones. Maybe just like a restaurant in maybe Miami Beach that I haven't been to, because I don't go to the beach, right? So if you're from Miami, you don't really go anywhere near the beach. Miami Beach, we go to Key Biscayne or we go to Bal Harbor. So
that is 100% true.
Maybe something like that, you know, just kind of. And I love like a mom and pop restaurant, so preferably something like that.
And just a bonus one, I was curious, like what since Miami reinvents itself every 2 years, something new pops up. What's new that you're excited about?
So there's a bowling alley at the Plaza Hotel in Coral Gables that I'm really excited about, because as a Coral Gables resident, there are just like the same like 3 spots that you go to, and then everything just kind of dies out, and then you have to like go to the Grove to keep on having fun. But that's kind of like a fun thing, and I love like an activity, right? Like bowling, you know, you have your wine, you're having fun, everyone's yapping. So that's really cool, and the Plaza Hotel is stunning. So they couldn't have chosen a better place to do it at.
Very cool. So how do people follow you, learn about your show, and
so my handles my socials are Karina Alegre _ on both Instagram and TikTok, and everything is gonna sort of be posted on those 2 platforms, my TikTok and my Instagram. And then my professional page is Alegre Leadership, just that on Instagram. And you know, if you ever have a need or want for your business to sort of excel even more, whether that's a leadership training, you know, team building skills, that you want somebody to come in and do that, if you need like somebody that helps out with content, just anything of that nature, you know who to call.
Yeah, I might definitely have to call you.
Thank you.
What's the name of your show going to be?
The Alegre Show.
The Alegre Show.
The Alegre Show.
I could see that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. It's literally the happy show. So
very cool. Karina, thank you for your honesty and just being open to having the conversation. It was very refreshing, as you say.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And thanks for reminding us that reinvention is not always just about becoming something new. It's really just kind of building on who you are. I'm looking forward to seeing what you build and what you're next, and watching your show. And I wanted to say thank you to Miami Community Newspapers, the team. It's usually Zoni, Rochelle, is that who our producer is for the day?
Yeah.
Shout out to Rochelle. Thanks for making us look good on camera. Shout out to Michael and Grant Miller, and thank you for really everybody who's watching and listening. We do rebroadcast on Sirius XM Slam Radio 145.
Okay, cool.
You can find more episodes and videos online on City Built, and feel free to subscribe, leave a review, share some thoughts, let you know what you think of Karina. And cities are known by their skylines, but it's the people that build their cities. Stay curious, stay caffeinated, and keep building. My name is Irvans Augustin, and this is City Built, People, Culture, Business. We'll see you next time.